The mission of the Bush-China Foundation fell out of my dad's long-standing legacy interest in maintaining closer ties with China, building closer ties. My father was famously the bicycling ambassador representing the United States in China back in 1975. He saw China, at one of his darkest. And so over the years, he kind of monitored the relationship. When he was at the UN, he welcomed the Chinese delegation into the UN. When he was a CIA director, he kind of understood from that hat that he wore, China, became vice president and president. His first trip as president was to China. He had 6 conferences where he and his team were the organizers from the U.S. side, and Li Shaolin, the head of the People's Friendship Association, organizer from the China side. He always believed when he was physically able, that being present with Chinese, having exchanges with Chinese, having dialogue with Chinese in a respectful atmosphere was positive for developing closer ties and for moving China in our direction and for the U.S. to have a better understanding of China and its rise. My father, basically was his ethos and his legacy interest in respectful dialogue, better understanding, and closer collaboration is what was kind of the impetus for starting the foundation. And our mission is to carry on the George Bush, ethos, that whole idea that we need to bring people together. It was central in my dad's belief system, not just related to China, by the way, that personal relationships and being present with others leads to better understanding. And if you can do it in a respectful manner, then ultimately you establish friendships, and those friendships guide policy and guide behavior. And you can move behavior. And my father was amazing at establishing those personal relationships. I went to China in 1975 to visit my father, and I've seen China's rise firsthand. And it's amazing to think that 40-something years later, China has gone from being an impoverished nation where everyone was equally poor, where there were very, very few freedoms, to now people are enjoying massive amounts of freedom that were unimaginable, unthinkable back then. Well, these exchanges are critically important. And sadly, there's been barriers thrown up because of the fear-mongering and the demonizing of China from the U.S. perspective. Generally, it's a little, right now it's a little harder for American people to be comfortable exchanging with China because there's just this irrational fear that's been raised in their minds about China. We need more exchanges. Those exchanges have been made more difficult, but hopefully the ice is melting and we'll be able to have warmer relations, over time.